I was just sitting here thinking about that, thinking about Chosen One, basically rebooting the world like Noah. And I was like, that would make so much sense because it's been so much wickedness going on with the perverse and of energy, people warping, intentionally warping energy and making it to the point where the energy been warped so long, even people who typically would not sin and not even and been doing it for so long, they don't even know if they sinning or not. They just think it's human nature. And I was like, man, it would totally make sense to you grab 144,000 and put them with families, and everybody could see them pretty much, and watch how the blessings go to them. It ain't nothing that God doing to favor them. It's how God bless people for doing right. I know He do. What they messed up with me at was that when I was abandoned as a child, when they chose to sacrifice me, pretty much, somebody did, and I didn't get treated fairly like everybody else. Immediately, God took me under His wing, and I started understanding God and getting to know God. And what I mean by that is that it was impossible for me to guess by God. I had to live. God showed me He was with me. I didn't even have an education, but I got educated jobs. God showed me He was with me through my life, coming up through the hardship. Like, I was able to get normal jobs like everybody else and stuff like that. And that was a miracle, because they don't play that here in Georgia, bro. If you ain't got them paperwork, you ain't getting no job. That's how it was back then. But God would always make it where the right people be there at the right time, and I would show up at the right time. And we're like, I had to live off of blessings, because people kept taking from me, naturally taking from me. So I had to live off of blessings. I had to live. If somebody showed me love, I knew it was God. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that, all right, let's say I started getting in gear with God. So let's say I got I had a list of problems myself. I was a straight up sinner myself. But when I finally read the Bible and learned how to read the Bible and started learning how to understand it, I was like, let me apply this stuff. They said this God stuff real, so let me apply it. And I was already doing a list. I was already violating a few of the commandments. So I was like, let me get rid of these. Let me get rid of some of them just naturally growing up in it. Like, for me, it was like for protection purposes. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, let me prove to God I can change something. Let me prove to God I can. Let me meet this guy halfway. That's how I was at the time. And which I was so young, I was testing God, I didn't know it, and God knew that it was a mistake. It was an accident, but He went with me though. You know what I'm saying? Because He knew I didn't have nobody. So I started applying the nature of the Bible to myself, and I would just not expect, not look for it, not do nothing to see if I get a blessing, none of that. I would do it genuinely from the heart. Start cleaning up myself. And out of nowhere, I get blessed. Out of nowhere. And I'm like, whoa. I learned this at a pretty young age. I was like, whoa, this might where I kept it secret, though, because I didn't want people to think I was crazy. So I started cleaning up little bit by little bit of myself internally. I started cleaning up my internal first. It was like I was going in and out. I cleaned up my internal a little bit, then I cleaned up my external. I cleaned up my internal a little bit, then But I started with my internal because I was scared. 'Cause I didn't want the streets to see me cleansing. Because I didn't want them to, you know how the street can get. I didn't want them to try to, I was thinking like a human. I wasn't thinking about the fact that I'm working with God now and they ain't gonna bother me, and God running the world and run Satan too. If I'm doing what God tell me. I wasn't thinking about all that. I was thinking about the embarrassment, the humiliation, and how people were gonna abuse that. So I hid it. I called myself hiding it internally. But come to find out, I was supposed to heal internally first anyway. See how it worked. So I secretly started healing myself from the inside, and I just started watching. I seen things go wrong when I change. If I change something dramatic, it could be anything, selling drugs or whatever. It could be anything. If I change something dramatic, I did it secretly. But I sat back and I just observed. And I watched how blessings would come to replace. It was transmuting in. I learned how to transmute in it. I realized what transmuting energy was when I started doing that. And I would just swap stuff out, and I was like, wait a minute, this works. I was getting blessed. Every time I would give God a sin, he would give me he would show me a way to transmute the energy. And he would give me something to transmute the energy in that would replace the sin that I was utilizing, that I thought I needed to survive in life. And it might not have been to me, it might have not been in my head at the time. It might have not have seemed worth it, but it was more than worth it, because whatever I traded for, I might have got security. I might not have had as much money up front and all that, but I got security. And in the long run, I made more money. You know what I'm saying? So like the money started adding up, stacking up, and I was just started dealing with just different stuff that the governments and stuff give us. Not just they don't just give people income taxes and stuff. They give you stocks and stuff like that. Just like not income tax, but food stamp. If you work and stuff, they give you stuff too. You just gotta know how to utilize it. So I just started utilizing all that stuff, and it was like God was just swapping it out. It was just like he was swapping all this stuff out. And before you know it, I went from, I might have had, like I said, money up front, but that security was worth way more than that dollar, because for me, I didn't have a clue on how to invest money, so I was glad to work for a company that showed me how to invest the money. So anyway, get off that. I ain't trying to get on that subject, but it's so difficult. But anyway, I'm just showing you how it transmute in. Like every time I dropped something and gave it to him, and I would just stop moving, sleep, because it was like nothing I could do. Whatever I dropped would put me in a suspended state. And sometimes I would just sleep. I already knew what tomorrow would bring. I already knew wasn't no change. I already knew whatever I lost put me in a suspense state. So I would just sleep. I ain't know nothing else to do. I really wasn't into the Bible like that at the time, but I was reading it. 'Cause at that time, I was like reading the Bible step by step, just applying different stuff to myself. Whatever they went through, just doing it to myself. And then over time, what I'm trying to say, make a long story short, over time, what I'm trying to say is, before I know that I was living off blessings. So when somebody stagnated me and suspended my blessings, I already knew somebody in my family or somebody did something slick. I already knew. I knew it years ago, before this even happened. And when I got with my ex-wife, I told her about it, and she started catching on to it, and we started getting more money. Then she fell off in the hole somehow. Lord have mercy. If people only knew how hard it was to start gaining and living off of God genuinely and getting blessings and understanding your blessings, and these are my blessings. You get blessings like you get checks in the mail. You start to realize your blessings come like checks in the mail. And that's why I was so confident in preaching on somebody stealing people's blessings. I meant that. That's like real. This energy swapping stuff been going on for so long. That's why it done dwindled down to the point where the snake eating his own tail, because it should have been stopped. It should have been stopped. Somebody been doing it as a Hunger Game type thing. Somebody been tearing people up, killing people, sacrificing them. Because the way it's going, I can see it. I can see the wickedness in it. You can literally just pick out somebody and take their energy, and you can make a complete stranger, a bum, a wealthy man or a wealthy woman. And that person won't even know it because that person didn't have nothing. It wasn't the time for that person to be receiving that yet. That's how connected everything is. But the problem is a lot of people don't know about this stuff because a lot of people don't truly believe in God and don't really read the Bible and understand it like that and haven't applied it to their life to where they actually live off of God. I lived off God. I still live off God. And so I know when somebody took my life from me. And if anything, that's what made me the maddest. That somebody can actually take somebody's energy from them and just give. And immediately I looked at it as racism. But I had to hurry and get myself out of there because I was just steaming, bro. I was like, ain't no way nobody should be able to do that. I was steaming mad. And then eventually I started educating myself and realized what was really going on. And I realized it was my own people more than anything. And I realized all nationalities will do it, but they normally do it to their own. And it's like all you gotta do is pick out somebody who blind to nature, who blind to what's going on around them, who blind to God, who don't understand the true meaning of God, don't believe in God. Because God, bro, you could live off God. Literally, you could live off God. And that's what I did. I lived off God. I lived off God. And that's why I say I walk in God. I talk in God, live off God. I always have, even when I was in the street, like I said, I started applying little bit by little bit. I ain't got to go out there and tell people what you need to do. And I'm going to be real with y'all. I was from the streets, and missionaries used to come to the street. And I was on the street before I was in the church. And I'm going to tell you, that's a lot, really, that's a bad way to come at somebody, bro. To me, I couldn't stand it. I used to have to checkmate a lot of people, bro, because they'll tell you, don't do this, but they don't even know you doing that. They just heard that from somebody. And you got to watch that, man, because a lot of people do that. A lot of people out there do that, bro. So many people do that. They don't need, like, some of the best people do that. But you are judging. And if you ain't judging, you inference the situation, but it go from inferencing the situation to judging, though. It's like you'll know. You don't know, bro. Like, if these programs exist, some of these people are forced in this. And if anything, you know about these programs and don't want to fight the people who are putting people in these programs, and you want to just put a darn, what's the word I'm looking for? You're basically putting a stamp on somebody, like something that's normal that you could tell to the average Joe, and they'll say maybe that's it. But you can't do everybody like that, especially street cats. That really boils them inside. You tell them, you need to do this, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. How you know I was doing that? You get what I'm saying? Who told you I was doing that? You don't know I was doing that. Somebody probably just stole everything and got away with it. You know? Like for me, I was most gullible and too nice in my early studio days. But being in the studio and having a studio just for street cats, I growed out of that real fast. Because my motto was, I knew how these royal areas was with the streets. And it really wasn't that much money coming through here for everybody. And the few plugs that were getting all the money, they was getting all the money. So it really wasn't that kind of money flowing through here. Not for what I would want to charge. So I made a deal because I knew a lot of young brothers and sisters couldn't read good. They might have could write a rap. They probably was great at rapping, but they really couldn't read good, and they really couldn't understand. So I made a deal with them. I would show them how to work the stuff and work the equipment. And what they didn't know is, by me showing them how to work the equipment, since they love music so much, by them learning themselves how to record, they were going to teach themselves how to read. And as soon as they learned how to read, they would go to other studios. They wouldn't even give me the credit for it. Like, I taught you something that no other studio would teach you. I taught your grown self how to read and write. You learned it through through that computer. See, you learned it because you started applying yourself to something you love to do. You get what I'm saying? I showed street cats, because a lot of street cats that I met, they wasn't stupid. They just never had the opportunity or the chance to learn. Because school, what they push on us in school, you know, a lot of us ain't feeling it. In college or whatever, you know, and somebody else try to give us a book, we don't feel it. Well, you come into a studio, you love music. If you truly love music, you're gonna apply yourself. So my deal was, if you learn how to work this equipment properly and not tear my equipment, I would let you record yourself. And that's what I did. I would let them record themselves, keep the studio for a week. And they got so long, so many hours. I ain't telling nobody to do that now. I'm just saying, this was something I just did, 'cause I just love music. I didn't really care about all that. So I was like, I give you so many hours. You might get a week to it, depending on how many. They'll come to me and tell me how many songs they got and how many albums they want to make. So to go by that, well, I would give them so many free hours. But first, they would have to learn the equipment my way. So I stay in there with them a week, teach them how to do everything. And if they learn it, I let them have it for that amount of window of time. And by the time I come back, they be done made a whole album, don't even realize they can read and write. Because of that strategy I just showed them. So you know, but people are still to this day try to say I'm gullible. You can't call me gullible. You don't know me. I growed up in these streets. Y'all don't know me like that, man. Y'all don't know me like that. I felt sorry for my people. Yeah, I knew my people was getting down on me. Yeah, I knew they were stealing from me. Yeah, I knew they would belittling me behind my back, but I also knew they was ignorant. Okay? Not stupid. I knew they was ignorant to the facts. They was ignorant to knowledge. That's what made them stupid. So I was like, if I can introduce it, I ain't telling nobody to do that, because that's a lot of energy to put in. Plus, that was God's way of teaching me how to be a true healer. So I really, just like they thought they were using me for practice, I was using them for practice. Because I was like, if I could teach this person how to understand how to read and write, maybe this person won't go out and kill somebody for no reason. Maybe this person will think twice about killing somebody, because a lot of them people be killing real killers, and it's because they're ignorant. They'll kill you. Somebody pay them a few $100s, they'll knock you off because they need the money, and there ain't no family out here. So y'all don't see it like I saw it, bro. And I had to live in this. It wasn't about being gullible. It wasn't about none of that. That's why I don't know why people keep on trying to disrespect me. If you don't see the respect that I get in my own neighborhood just from the peace and quiet I get, you'll never understand the streets then. Because you can't get no respect in the streets until you earn your respect in the streets. And that's why I get respect in these streets. And where is my respect in these streets? In your little peanut brain, you saying, don't nobody respect you. They do respect me because they talking about me behind my back.